Hello students, today we are going to learn chapter 4, part 2 and planning process. Now as I had told in part 1 that planning is deciding in advance as to what to do and how to do. That is where we are and where we want to be. So the first step in planning process is setting up the objective. Now objectives may be set either for the entire organization, for each department within the organization. It's very important that every employee or every worker in the organization knows about the goal as to what is the objective of organization, because unless they are not aware about the goal, it would become difficult for them to work. For example, if you don't know the goal of your life, then how are you going to prepare a road map towards your life? Let's say, for example, you have set an objective that you want to achieve 95% in board exam. Now that is setting the goal, setting the objective, the first step in planning. That, okay, if I score 95%, I can get admission in XYZ place, which is my goal, again, the next goal. So the first step in planning process is setting up the objective. So if the end result is clear that you want to score 95, it becomes easier to plan further and it becomes easier to work towards the goal. Because once you know that you want to score 95%, the next step of yours would be to segregate your work, that how many hours you're going to put in order to achieve your goal, how many hours you're going to spend in writing and practicing the paper so that you can achieve your goal. So if the end result is clear, it becomes easier to work towards the goal. That is the first step in planning. Now moving on to the next step, that is developing the premises. Every manager in an organization, they have to make certain assumptions about the future, because assumptions are the base material upon which plans are to be drawn. In business, we cannot be sure, as I had mentioned earlier also, that there is uncertainty. So we are not sure what is going to happen in the future. But at least with the help of assumptions, we can prepare and we can develop the base. Like let's say, for example, I can make the forecast that what is my demand going to be for a particular product, or how consumer is going to respond to the product. And accordingly, I will plan. I know that my customer's taste and preference is this. So at least I need to manufacture 500 units this month so that I can meet the demand of the customer. Now all these are the assumptions which I'm making on the basis of planning. So I have to assume certain things in order to keep my plan going. So as I said, manager is first required to make certain assumptions about the future and plan it accordingly. So this is the second step in developing premises. Now moving on to the third step, that is identifying alternative course of action. See, whenever we do any kind of work, there are n number of ways or n number of methods to act and achieve that objective. Now, all the alternative courses of action should be identified. Let's say, for example, if there are 3 ways of doing a particular job, now I have to choose which is the best course of action to complete that task. So the course of action which may be taken could be either routine or innovative, but then it has to be identified. So I would choose the best way or best method of doing that particular task so that I can achieve the goal. So my third step is identify the way or identify the action which you're going to take. And the fourth thing is evaluate the action which you're planning to go for. That is, evaluate alternative courses. There are advantages and disadvantages for every options or every alternative. So it is up to you, after evaluating every limitations or advantages, you have to decide as to which is the best course of action in order to achieve my goal. So the positive and negative aspect of each proposal has to be evaluated so that the objectives could be achieved. The next step in planning is selecting an alternative. Now, as we have decided, as now we have collected the information as to all the alternatives, that which is best, which has advantages, which has disadvantages, Now, out of those options, you have to select the best plan and you have to implement that in your organization. So the ideal plan, of course, would be the most feasible, which is flexible, profitable, and which reduces your cost of production. In an organization, it's not necessary that you have to select any one alternative. Sometimes it also happens that a combination of plans may be selected instead of one best plan. The next step is implementing the plan. Now, once all these process has been done, you have selected the plan. Now, the next step is to act upon it. That is implement. Just by saying that I want to achieve 95, I want to achieve 95, I cannot achieve it. I have to take action for that. I have to study. I have to sit at least 4 to 5 hours dedicating for each subject. That is implementation. So the next step is concerned with putting the plan into action, which means doing what is required. So this step would involve organizing for labor and purchase of machinery, which means that whatever is required, let's say, for example, the objective is to improve the production. In that case, I have to, if labor is needed, if raw materials are needed, if machineries are needed, I have to take action and arrange and organize all the raw materials or all the factors of productions which are required. And once I have implemented the plan, once I have started working on the plan, the next step is follow up. That means I have to monitor the plan continuously, whether I'm working according to my plan or not. If I had decided that today I want to complete 50 units, that means I have to manufacture 50 units per employee per day. That means I have to check, monitor whether same thing is happening or not. I have to ensure that objective is achieved. Just in case, if with the help of monitoring, we can see the gap of what actually the performance is and what is the targeted performance. And we can take the action accordingly if there is any deviation from the plan. Now, after studying the planning process, now let's study what are the types of plan. There may be many types of plan. First, let's study the single-use plan. From the name itself, we can know that it is developed just for one-time event or project. That means this plan is developed just for one activity or for a one-time event or a project. And these activities or these plans are non-recurring because they are planned according to the situation. So the duration of this plan may depend upon the type of project. It depends. If I have taken up the project for 1 week, then that plan is going to be applicable only for 1 week. Or if it's for 1 month, the project or the task which I have taken is for 1 month, then I have to make single-use plan. That means a plan which is developed just for that particular event. So it includes the names of the employees who are going to be responsible for doing the work, because I have to do proper distribution of division of labor in single-use plan, which means which person is going to do which activity. As I had said already earlier, right person at the right place at the right time. The next type of plan is standing plan. A standing plan is used for activities that occurs regularly over a period of time, which means on a daily basis or on a routine basis. These are the activities which keeps on recurring. So standing plan is designed to ensure that all the internal operations of the organization run smoothly. Like let's say, for example, there are certain activities in an organization which are recurring, which happens regularly every day, which is a normal routine for everyone. So that is the standing plan, which is usually developed once, but it can be modified time to time depending on the situation and according to the need of the business firm. So standing plan includes all the policies, procedures, methods, rules, regulations, which has to be followed by everyone in the organization. The next is objective. This is another type of plan. As I have already explained too much about the objective. Objective is nothing like what you would like to achieve. That is the end result of every task. Objective needs to be expressed in specific terms, When I say specific, they should be measurable in quantitative terms. Like, let's say, for example, if I have set an objective that this year I want my company's turnover to be 500 crores. Now, here I'm trying to give the specific term, that is 500 crores, which is measurable in quantitative terms. So, objective is what you would like to achieve or the end result. The next is strategy. Now, let's understand what is strategy. You would have heard of this term that strategy is something like an comprehensive plan or a technique which we are going to take to achieve our objective. So strategy is a comprehensive plan for accomplishing the objective. Now, it may include long-term objectives, course of action which you're going to take, how you're going to allocate all the resources. You have to plan the strategy. Like if you want to capture a particular market, when your competitor is really trying hard to take your market, then you have to adopt certain strategy. That means you have to plan as to what strategy can be formulated or what strategy can be applied so that customer is attracted towards your product and not your customer's product. So strategy, again, it depends on the business environment, and many times business environment needs to be taken into consideration. Now, when I say business environment, it includes the customers, the suppliers, the competitors, economic environment, legal environment, social environment. So whenever you're trying to formulate a strategy or a technique to capture the market or to spread your task or to get more output, anything. So strategy has to be very tact. The next plan is policy. Now, policy guides to managerial action and decision in implementation of strategy. We would have heard this term policy many times. Now, what is this policy? Policies are the kind of rules, or you can say that these are applied at all the levels in the department, which every employee has to follow. Now, this policy acts as a guide to the manager to take action or a decision whenever they want to implement strategy. Like, let's say, for example, many a times they say that it is against our company policy that we don't take back the goods once it is sold. That is a policy. So policy defines the broad parameters within which a manager may function. Let's talk about procedure. Procedure is, of course, the term itself says it's a steps which is usually explains you how to carry out all the activities. These are the routine steps how you would be conducting your daily activity. They detail the exact manner in which any form of work is to be performed. Like, let's say, for example, if you go to any of the manufacturing industry which are into manufacturing of wafers, the first step is washing the potato. Secondly, they would peel it. Third, they would slice it or grate it. Then they would fry it. Then garnishing, and then packing, and then dispatching. Now, this is the procedure, the steps how you carry out the activities. These are generally meant for insiders to follow, which means procedure is generally for the people who are working inside the organization. It gives them the guidance as to how they have to carry out their work step by step. The next one is method. This is another type of plan. Method provides you that in which way or manner you can complete the task. The method may, of course, vary from one activity to another activity because you cannot apply the same method every time. But when you know the best method to do the work, it saves your time, money, and effort. And it, of course, increases the efficiency. Because when a worker knows that this is the best way to do the work, every time he is going to adopt the same method, ultimately he will become more efficient in doing that activity because he is used to it. So ultimately it will save time, money, and effort, and it will not only improve his efficiency but also the effectiveness of the work. The next one is rule. Now, rules are the general statements that inform what is to be done and what is not to be done. So in this type of plan, there is no compromise unless there is a policy decision taken, which means that rules are the specific statements which are to be followed. There cannot be any changes into it unless the top management or the supervisors or managers make changes. So rules are, you can say that they are not much flexible once it is fixed or decided. Next one is program. Now, program are the statement that is how you have to carry out your project. Like, let's say, for example, when we say that, let's say, for example, if in an organization, if manager is asked that what is the program for the day, how are you going to achieve? Then first he'll talk about the objective. That today, my objective is to see that the production units manufactures 500 units today. With this objective, you have to also follow and take along the policies, the procedure which you're going to follow, what are the rules which you have to keep in mind while performing the task. So it requires all the physical and human resources also to implement or to take any course of action. So in short, program is a detailed statement about all the activities which you're going to perform, be it any objectives, rules, regulations, policies, procedures, and it would also include the budget. That is how much cost you're going to spend or how much money you're going to spend to perform that particular task. Now let's talk about budget. Now when we talk about budget, budget is a statement of expected result which is expressed in numerical terms. Now, it becomes very easy to compare the actual performance with the expected, or comparing the actual performance with what you have actually achieved or what was your expected result. Like, let's say, for example, that your expected figure was that you want to manufacture 200 units per day. So this was your expected. But in actually, that is in actual performance, you have just produced 150 units of commodity. So your expected was 200. But actual figure is 150. So budget helps you to compare and make it easier to compare your actual figure with the expected figure so that you can take the corrective action. Through this gap, it helps you to take the corrective measures. So budget is also a control device from which deviations can be taken care of. The next one is, let's talk about conclusion. That is, after studying the whole planning chapter, it is very much clear that planning is the basic and first function of any organization, be it manager, be it owner, or be it the employee or the worker level person. He has to plan first in order to achieve the target. So proper planning helps to run the organization smoothly and effectively, and it also saves your time and money, and it reduces cost of production. Now, obviously, when there is a reduction in cost of production, which means that there would be reduction in price also. So ultimately, you can offer the product at a lower rate with a better quality to the consumer. So planning coordinates all the departments towards achievement of the goal of the organization. And as I had told earlier also, that planning is a continuous process. Once one plan is over, one target is over, or one objective is over, another target or another task is started. So planning is a continuous